I think a good entrepreneur's also got to say no a lot.
The zest for life and the energy to solve a problem, I think, is probably what drives me. I love a problem. I like solving them just as much as I like getting them.
What is for you won't go past you.
He's got the same vibe as you, Mr. Pearson. He's just got a really great, happy attitude where he buoys up people. He brings his A game. He goes to bed really early. I don't call it fail, I call it pivot.
Entrepreneurship. Do you think people are born with it, or do you think it's something they go for because they want to break out?
I think you intuitively know what you're strong at, but you need to know what you're weak at, and that's what you need to plug. It's like when two heads come together, it's a third person entering the room. It's like really powerful. When you see some of the qualities that in yourself in the team, that's also a good thing. You know what? A good idea is timeless, because if you can do it now, you're going to shoot to the moon even faster when it's easy. If you're, a small business and you're innovating, then you can do risky things that other businesses just wouldn't do.
Well, hello and welcome. Thank you, Tracy, for joining us this evening. Very excited to have you. I really like working with you and I'm excited about your business. I'm not going to do the intro because I always find it a bit naff when someone reels off someone's history and what they've done. And I think you're going to say it better. So do you mind introducing yourself to the audience? Tell them about you. Tell them about your background. Tell them about what you've done. You've achieved a lot. You've achieved more than most. So don't hold back. Be proud and tell them exactly a little bit of your journey and what you've done.
I love that, Mark, more than most. I'm going to start backwards and then kind of jump forward. So at the moment, I'm delighted to be supported by you and the Fuel team. I am currently the founder and CEO of a business called Scope Better. So we are a B2B platform, SaaS platform for anybody who's in professional services solving their pricing problem. Shameless plug, I can't help myself. Let's talk a little bit about me. So I'm originally from New Zealand, the dulcet tones of the South Island, and I was educated there. I came to the UK 20 years ago with a backpack to find my dreams. I had a first-class master's degree and a passion, I guess. Started off in doing various different things with businesses and marketing, working for Royal Bank of Scotland, Forte Hotels. My first business was a content and web business. And then from there, I saw an opportunity of developing one of the first web platforms and SaaS platforms called Scope Better. Ran that business for 10 years, scaled it successfully, and exited to an American corporation. So,
very good.
Ta-da! And in that process, I decided I wasn't quite ready to hang up my boots.
Uh-huh.
And so I didn't take a break. Maybe I should have. I bought a big yacht, danced around for the summer, and then started again on Scope.
Very nice. Very good. I love that journey. One thing that you just said was exactly similar to my story. And I wonder if that has any, resonance or impact into people. So you left your hometown and you basically chose to go to somewhere else. You came to London, you said?
Yes.
So I did the same. I went from Liverpool, came to London, and literally a rucksack with all my belongings in, which wasn't very much. At the age of 18, mine was, to find a better life. And that, not everyone leaves the hometown, right? So I wonder if I haven't asked that question a lot, but people do go to where the hub of business or where the finances are or where investment is. So you went where the corporations' HQs were, and you went and got that experience, and it led you in this direction. I just find that fascinating because I think it's a bold move for people.
Well, we say that now, but actually we look back and it's like we couldn't have done half the things we've done unless we were in the hub of it, learning and diving feet first. I don't think we knew the words no.
I agree.
I'm not sure I still do, but anyway.
That's a fascinating one. They say you've got to be a yes man, you've got to say yes woman, you've got to say yes a lot. But I think a good entrepreneur's also got to say no a lot. I genuinely think that, because you've got to be, if you say yes to everything, you overcrowd yourself, you've got too much on. Like when you have projects, you literally can't do too many. You've got to focus. Right?
I completely agree. I've tried and learned on that one as well. I find that I'm kind of what 3 or 4 strands is the maximum I can deal with. Well, they do say in good management theory, you can't really have anything more than 7 direct reports. I've got up to managing 10 at points, but if you get it back down to 7, it certainly helps you to get there faster.
How much like that, what you've just said, how much framework of what you've read on how others do it have you used in your business? Because it's funny, and I've always said this a lot, and maybe your business journey is different to mine. Maybe it'll resonate with what I'm about to say. When I ran my first business, I felt totally unqualified every day, and I was scared. I nearly said shit scared, right? I was scared. I would never, the face I put to the public and my team and my clients wasn't that, but I was going into new territories every day. Maybe I was younger. I was early 20s, mid 20s. And I was running a business. It was exciting. I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, but I felt unqualified every day. And I was making decisions where I thought, this is big decisions. If I mess it up, I mess it up. And I never read many business books, and I didn't have many people around me who had been there, done that. And maybe that was my own fault. I didn't know the network. It was the thing I yearned the most. But I succeeded. But I always think how much more success could I have had just with a bit of advice around me.
It's funny you say that. I think sometimes it turns up when you most need it. And I think when it doesn't turn up, like you don't need it yet. So I read a lot. I think I've had a lot of experience. And like you, I remember back in the early days. I mean, they say the words now, fake it till you make it. We were probably doing that and didn't even realize we were doing it back then. I don't know. The zest for life and the energy to solve a problem, I think is probably what drives me. I love a problem. I like solving them just as much as I like getting them. So luckily, I think the other key thing is I really like people, and I love information. That's kind of another nice thing. Good and bad, because it's like one of those things. It's like information is power, but it can also sometimes gives you too many choices.
No, I agree. You just touched upon a quote that I read. I was looking at your WhatsApp. I don't know. Do you know that quote that's on there? You might have put it years ago when you wrote, what is for you won't go past you.
Yes.
And you kind of touched upon it then, because are you a believer in kind of fate and opportunity? Like
I do. Well, I also think you make your own opportunities, because you intuitively, you'll be like, you know where you want to go, you have a plan. And then when you see it, you go, okay, that can get me to where I need to. So you might be at a dinner party, you could be at a rugby match, and you might bump into somebody and they'll say, oh, I do this. Well, do I need to talk to you? So that's kind of...
A door opens, right?
Absolutely.
The door opens, but the worst and most painful parts, which we've all had in our life, maybe you'll think of an example in a second, where a door closes in your life. And sometimes it's a shock, it's a pain, it might really upset you, it might really throw you. I've had situations in my business career where I've gone, oh no, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's potentially a big loss for us. I've shed a tear once or twice because I'm like, that's a massive deal we've lost. And then the silver lining comes and you're like, wow, I didn't think that would appear, because with that was in place, that would never have happened. And things turn good, things turn better. Have you got examples of anything that's happened, or anything comes to mind?
I've got examples where things haven't worked out, but something else has worked out.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of one of those. I love that, the oh shit test, isn't it? It's like, oh shit. And then you're like, okay, how else are we going to reframe this?
I sleep on stuff. Like if I'm ever in that pain point where it's like, I'm really not sure what to do, this is a hit, this is a blow, everyone's feeling it in the team, or whatever it may be, client loss, change of strategy, something not working out, quite big, right? Impactful. And then even if I'm not sure, my own method is I'll sleep on it. And I wake up in the morning, bounce out of bed full of energy like I do most mornings, right? And it's more clear. I don't know, like that. I always say to my team, no, he's going to sleep on it.
Well, that's a good thing. I normally find that my immediate first reaction is normally going to be the best reaction. I mean,
people, right? There's no right or wrong here. That's why I love having this conversation. It's fascinating, because that's just where maybe my brain processes stuff.
And sometimes it's just making a decision. And sometimes the worst thing you can do is dilly-dally either way. It's like both of that. We're going to back the decision that we make, So it doesn't matter which way we go, left or right, because we're going to end up in the right place.
No, I agree. Right, early influence, right? We covered upon where you came from and how you started, but...
Well, I guess the first one for me is my dad, because I'm from a very rural place a long way away in New Zealand, and he was quite unusual, actually. I wasn't, back then, girls were not supposed to... we weren't really supposed to do much, actually. We were supposed to marry farmers was his big ambition for me. You could marry a farmer. That sounds like a really horrible thing. But he was actually very entrepreneurial. So he was a farmer, but he imported water buffalo to New Zealand. So started farming then. He then turned our sheep and cattle farm into a gold mine, which some people laugh. Say, how does that happen? So he was quite entrepreneurial, very risky. There was a little bit of boom and bust.
Wow.
So, so I don't like to borrow a lot of money, funnily enough, because he was pretty good at that. So I've learned some things. Yeah. And I guess then the other kind of influence that in my business career, after I sold my last business, I was lucky enough to meet Richard Branson, and I spent a week with him on Necker Island.
Oh, wow.
And he's got the same vibe as you, Mr. Pearson. He's just got a really great, happy attitude where he buoys up people. He brings his A game. He goes to bed really early. He told us all at Necker that, he'd be rolling out the shots across the bar, but he'll be in bed by 11, and the rest of everybody else would be kind of there till 3 in the morning. I noted that very early on.
Interesting. Do you think he's an early riser? Did he say he gets?
I know he's an early riser. He got up every morning and played tennis.
What time was that? Do you know?
Yeah. Somewhere between 6 and 7.
Yeah, okay. So it's fascinating. That's totally fair. I go to bed at that time. I'm a midnight type person. I think everything wraps up then. But yeah, with kids, it's a good 6:30, 7 a.m. anyway. And get breakfast ready and do a bit of work in parallel. But I agree. So your dad's big influence. I like that. And you kind of, was there other siblings, or is it that you?
I do. I have a brother and a sister. But I think the key thing about my dad was, I think it was always like, that whole fighting against what do you mean I'm a girl and I can't do that? Yeah, of course I can. So, yeah, I don't really see the male female divide. Which is kind of good, because I'm in people would have said to me, how can you be the CEO of a tech business? And I've been in tech for 20 years successfully. So kind of unusual.
Isn't it shocking we have to even say that in a sentence? So like there's a day when that was questioned, or Jesus. I
know, but I was oblivious to it at the beginning, but I guess it's probably because, when you arrive to London with a backpack and you don't really know too much, you're like, well, this is just going to work out, isn't it? You would have been the same.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. I like that. Okay, so the early influences, I like that. Right, previous roles, you did touch upon them earlier. How do you think it shaped your decision and direction in what you do today?
I think everything is a journey, and you can't help but kind of like just choose the path. I mean, why am I doing Scope Better? Because I already ran a successful platform and we were doing really, really well. And I probably wasn't ready to sell, but I got offered a ridiculously large amount of money. And I think the team was probably ready, and it was a good opportunity. I mean, who knows? And that just... I was like, okay, in order to do this, I really need to know what I'm going to do. And I think this is a really good idea. So we're probably still early in the journey, and I've seen an enormous change in software. I went from, one of the first SaaS platforms launched in the UK back in 2007. It's a long time ago now.
We started out at a similar time. I started my main business in 2006. It's very close.
I remember when you were looking to invest into Scope Better. I was like, similar story. Except he was a bit cleverer than me. I'm doing a similar thing because I quite like it.
Really?
And he's jumped above it.
Really? I like when you say it was a natural path. I laugh at my own journey because I used to be a chef. It's like, this is not a natural path. How am I here this side of the table? Like, I fully look up to you, and you're building a company. I think your company is going to go to the stars. It's fantastic, right? All the entrepreneurs we work with. But I'm the most unqualified VC around, and it's kind of like no one could have predicted my path. But that's also what I like about it. And surely when someone listens to that, they're like, You did. Do you know, like, don't even ask how I did in school. Like, I don't even deserve to be. I thank God for spell checker and a calculator, right? But the beauty is you have the AI's changed my life, and I'm 100 times more productive, right?
That's exact. I love that though. Isn't that like a bad boy done good? Everybody loves that story. Come on. It also means that you're not set in your ways, that you learn and you're not stuck in a box.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I don't know. Everyone's individual, but do you think being in a corporate job for too long will just make you so entrenched? You said you have your.
I think I learned a lot though, Mark. I think what happens
I'm
is
not saying it's not valuable, but if you were there for another 20 years, do you think you could not have been an entrepreneur? Or it would have been
I don't think I would have been there for another 20 years. They would have people often say to me, why do you do what you do? I'm like, because I'm unemployable, I'm too noisy. Exactly the same reason.
Disruptive.
It's like why I had to say to Antoine, no, what are you going to do? I could go in there and I could have presented a safe presentation, but instead I was going to start with something that was quite controversial. Mm-hmm. That everything we're doing is pretty shit.
You've got to start at that level, right? You've got to be loud, brash about it. I think that's important, but in a respectful way in the corporate.
Yeah, absolutely, but I'm not sure that the corporates love that, do they?
Yeah.
Challenging the status quo every day.
But they ask for innovation, and then they can sometimes stifle it, right?
They don't actually want innovation.
Wow.
They want the business opportunities that the upself of innovation can give them, but they don't want the.
Is it the risk? Is it people don't want to be seen as failure? Like in entrepreneurship, if you fail, you take it on, take the punches, take the embarrassment, pick yourself up, carry on, right?
I don't call it fail, I call it pivot. It's like, oh God, that didn't work. We've got to pivot quickly to something else. It's like...
That is business really, because I every investment we make, it's like good, concept's good, but who knows where it's going to go as long as you're open to that. I think I've seen entrepreneurs that are, let's say, dig their heels into that, obsessive about that concept or that business, and are not open to. I've had founders where, you say pivot, I say the business was failing, it wasn't working, and money was running out, and they were bold enough to rip up the page. And what I mean by forget that idea, don't even think in that world, jump 380, whatever it may be, into a whole different space, because what you do now and what I do now, every day I wake up and say, is this what I want to do? Do I enjoy it? And is it going to give me the biggest, when I say bang for my buck, that's money, that's stimulation, that's happiness, that's, all of the above. It's not just about one thing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So interesting.
You've got to work out what you like. I mean, I do love the problem, and I do love the intensity. I love the input of teams. I mean, that's what it's all. Yeah, that's what we feed off, isn't it? The energy of people, the energy of the ideas, changing things, making differences, making decisions, building things. I love building things.
I've got two questions which have come from just what we said. Entrepreneurship. Do you think people are born with it, or do you think it's something they go for because they want to break out? You kind of said you were different. In that corporate world, you were different. You kind of knew. Your brain worked differently. You responded.
I think it's learned, and I think I learned it from my dad.
Yeah.
Because I think it was the nature of the fact he was never conventional. He took a lot of risks, and I think that's, you just see it, and then you kind of see that that's normalized. So
that makes the step easier if you've got entrepreneurship in your family, because it normalizes it. I don't know whose example I want to give, but there's people in their lives journeys where maybe their parents, their grandparents have always had safe, steady job. It's quite hard for them to make that
very hard
different leap and different,
because they will also get not only that, but I'm sure if they were to tell their family what they're doing, the family would be like, oh no, that's risky.
Yeah.
So I know people in my team, you talk to them and like, well, I'm going to do that. And they're like, oh, I'm glad you're making that decision. It's like, okay, well, so am I. Great.
It's a risk appetite, right? Do you think it's a risk appetite?
It's a risk appetite. Yeah.
So you're right. I don't necessarily think they're born with it. I think some people are genuinely born totally different. Even on the spectrum and all of the above, I think that's been proven that their brains are working totally different. They're probably not right. You said they wouldn't have kept me in the corporate world. So maybe whatever there's in that brain does think different, and you want to take on bigger challenges, bigger risks. Your volatility in your daily life, weekly life, monthly life is probably different to someone who, they get stresses, but I think an entrepreneur has stresses on another level, right?
I think you're right.
Like it's a roller coaster ride, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't actually find the stress affects me. I'm sure it does, but I don't feel like it does affect me. I would say that the words, I feel like I thrive on it sometimes. If it's like, I look at it as a challenge. So.
Yeah. Would you say that's the glass half full versus the glass half empty, just attitude?
It's definitely.
I said the glass is overflowing, even if it's not. It's like, half full's a bit understating it, isn't it? It's oozing and pouring over, right? It's messy. But you've got to think like that in life, right? Even if it's not, even if there's a little dribble left,
I love that.
Got to produce it from somewhere. It takes it to the next level, right?
I love that.
Do you ever scare people with the size of your ambition, whether it's your team, whether it's partner, whether it's family, anyone, where you say, this is what I want to achieve, and they just go, like, sometimes I talk about my plan and this, and people just go a little bit quiet, and I'm like, I'm not crazy. And if I don't achieve it, I don't mind laughing in the future about this conversation, but I'm going to tell you what I really think may be possible.
Well, I find people don't normally, when I say that, people don't normally challenge me. Maybe they do look a little bit big-eyed, but I don't normally, people never say no, that's not going to be achievable. They're like, it's normally an affirmation of like, that's big, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's okay. So your ambitions have got to be big enough to scare people, right? Building a team, right? What values do you prioritize when assembling your key team members? And I'm sure this has improved over time. When you first,
it has, it really has. It really has. I focus. I could tell you all sorts of interview techniques, but actually, at the moment, my big favorite thing is we run something called a Kolbe test. It's a simple test. The first is a fact find. The second is called follow through. The third is quick start, and the fourth is something called implementer, and it's where you sit on that kind of level based on kind of what you do. So I am quite a high fact find, which is, I like to understand the information, and I'm a high quick start. So I need to know lots of detail, and then when I'm ready, I'm just like, let's go. And so what I know is that Caitlin, who's like my number, she's like my left-hand lady and makes things happen. Mm-hmm. She has a very high follow-through, which is process. Mine's a little bit lower, and she's got quite a low quick start, which should annoy me, but I know about it. So I'm like, okay, so her job is to make sure that she's sweeping up my 45 million miles an hour, and she makes sure that all the process pieces and documents are in, because I've profiled that for her. And I then know that she's not going to work as fast as me. I'm like, come on. Can we have it done by Tuesday? And she's like, Thursday. I'm like, Wednesday, it's a deal. Let's go.
Me in the middle.
So, and it's the same across the team. And so once you profile, and then you can sit different things on top of it for job fits and bits and pieces, but it's really quite good because people will also know if I've got more facts than them and they come and present to me. Oof.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Is that a well-known philosophy process out there? I've not heard of it.
It's probably not that well known. You kind of buy the tests. They're not very expensive. Uh-huh. They're like 40 quid a test. But and I know, Mark, when you get the person wrong in the team,
it's so costly.
It's absolutely, yeah.
That's not money costing. Time, motivation, your energy.
And all of it. I mean, it's just, But
it's disappointing. I never like to take someone on and it not work out. Generally, if someone's leaving.
Well, no, whoever would do that, that would be madness. No, all of us want to do it to kind of get. And whenever I've questioned the Kolbe and thought, you know what, I know better. Mm-hmm. It's always been one of those things that going, oh no, it was right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that person didn't do the facts, and they were, high quick start and very low fact find is not great on the developer.
Yeah. So you're looking for traits and behaviors. Is that a question? Is it a survey question? How do you identify that?
Yeah. So it's kind of it's a psychometric test. Uh-huh. I've done other psychometric tests previously, but that's the one I found that I kind of like. It's really easy. I share it with the team. Everybody knows what they are. They know what their numbers are. They know what it means.
And it works for you. It's good.
And it works. It genuinely works.
You're essentially looking for complementary skills of what you've just described as your top tier around you. Do you think entrepreneurs need to quickly identify what they're weak at, what they're bad at?
I do actually. I do. Yeah. I think you intuitively know what you're strong at, but you need to know what you're weak at, and that's what you need to plug.
That's where probably failure comes in highest, because maybe people think they're invincible, think they're good at everything. And I think delegation is the best thing. And I'm the worst example of that, because in my first company, like I told you, my first main business, I was so over the top, a control freak, wanting to be in everything, a micromanager. And I'll tell you why it was so important to me that the business it was already starting to be successful. I couldn't let it mess up, because it was my first big thing. And it was like, I can't delegate it too much. But actually, once I built that journey, and maybe confidence in people, like I was a solo entrepreneur like you, right? And different brain, different mindset, different philosophies. None of this was right, but I feel like it was right because it led to the success. No one was disadvantaged. Maybe I didn't delegate more. Maybe it wasn't trust. Maybe it was just I could have delegated a lot more. I probably took on a lot more. I probably restricted their own business growth because I was fingers were in too many pies, right? But I look back and say that's exactly how I needed to be. Or the story may have been different, but now older, wiser, more experienced, maybe know how to work with people more, seeing good people, seeing bad people. Once I find good people, delegate. It doesn't mean you do the stuff you're good at. That's what I mean. And, really double down into that point. And people are much better, much more productive, like on another level. Wow. You made that look so easy.
Yeah. Well, and it's also when you see somebody who has complementary skills to you, I mean, it's like when two heads come together, it's a third person.
It's powerful, right?
It's like really powerful. Absolutely.
In bringing on a great new team member for one of these key roles, how do you give someone some advice on how you identify that quickly? Obviously, in the day job you're seeing, but do you run a process, probation? How do they know the delivery? Now, is it a skill? Is it a mindset? Is it the work ethic? Give me a rough idea of how you.
Well, they'll know and you'll know, but everybody who joins the business, we do kind of an onboarding, and you can immediately tell when somebody gets up to speed really quickly, how involved they are. Also how much you give them, how much people give them. It's kind of one of those really simple, I find that one really easy.
Yeah, you can tell it's a feeling. Yeah. You're seeing them like a duck to water, right?
Absolutely. And I know you'll see this too. In your team, the team who kind of come to it and solve the problems and actually want to be involved is, and they'll proactively do things.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Straight away, anybody who's proactive, because that's the same we would be. When you see some of the qualities in yourself and the team, that's also a good thing.
We're kind of moving naturally into that direction about culture, right? Obviously, company culture is super important. In the early stages, what would you say your culture is? How do you encourage it? How do you build it? Is it you, the driving force? Is it a communal effort? Do you have it written down, or is it natural? Tell me your thoughts on it.
Well, we've got kind of a mission statement. We've got all of those things, all the things that you'd expect. But what is it? Where does it kind of come from? So the first thing we do is, there's nothing that I would not ask somebody to do that I wouldn't do myself. But we have what we call a stand up every morning. So no matter where you are, whether you're in the office or not in the office, we have a stand up. We've got teams that are offshored. They will call into it. And so you see everybody's face every day. And the stand up is a typical, what did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? What have you got any challenges with, anything you need help with, or anything you think the business needs to know? And it's literally, we go around, we spend 15 to 20 minutes every day talking about that. And then people can break off after that to deal with something that they've talked about, or they've got to pick up with something, or I've got to get you that or that. So all of a sudden you've got that whole kind of brain that comes together. And that even works well when you're in the office. So it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like the this is where we're going collectively as a group. It makes people feel involved. We were thinking of a name for a new feature we've got coming across the product yesterday, and somebody said to me, Tracy, what do you think? It's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put a poll out. So we have an internal chat that we use. I put that up on the poll. Everybody got to vote for it, and the winner got, a branded mug from the Scope Better branded mug. Love it. So it was kind of like, okay, that makes people feel involved in the journey.
Ownership part of it, yeah. Instead of it just being an executive decision, I agree.
Yep.
Okay, I think that works. Do you think that works for all companies or certain sizes?
Well, I think that's that corporate thing. If you're in a corporate business, you don't get to make those decisions, and that's probably why you either leave them or you, No, I think it really does work. I think as you get bigger and scale, you've got to work out how you do that in a department.
Yeah.
Or you do that in a location.
Yeah, instead of it being one group now. But
for us, I can see, we get little satellites, the development team, huddle on their own things, and then you get the same from PS. But then we'll have an away day where we'll come together and we'll split ourselves up to teams, and they'll present together and we'll present together. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts.
Pretty nice. I like that. Good. Not all companies do that stand up, but some companies do it and do it well. If it's in your culture, I think it clearly gives you that fresh energy or, outlet in the morning, but also help you just get your own plan together. Because if you don't think about it, you just meander into another day, and before you know it, it's lunchtime, right? Time flies. Right.
Yeah. Big. And they all go, oh goodness, it's 10 days to the end of the month. Sales, where are our orders?
Yeah.
It's 3 days before we have to release our new version release.
At least these deadlines are fresh, right? Put the pressure on people. I think that's important, right? Yep. Let's be super honest on this one. Hopefully you can dig up something from your past that's challenges. What have been your biggest challenges in your life? Toughest challenges on the journey as an entrepreneur and founder? And then how you overcome them. Like we talked about doors closed in the face earlier, and is there anything that comes to mind where you've gone, really hard, whether it's just an ongoing challenge, whether it's a major issue you had to resolve it, okay, interesting. And then any challenges that are just constant challenges, what I don't want to paint on this conversation that we have is, great hard work, all success is great, but actually under the surface of the business, being a CEO of the business, it's full of fires. It's full of challenges. It's not easy. And I try and put founders off sometimes. I probably said the same to you, and it was silly because you'd already done it before. I'm like, you sure you want to do it again? You sure? Because the commitment, you told me you got kids earlier. It's a big time commitment, and it's volatile, and it's risky, and it's draining, and that's not negative. It is, but also it's super rewarding, and it makes you jump out of bed in the morning, and it can be highly rewarding if you get it right. So the brain is an amazing thing, though, isn't it? It kind of evaporates at the end of every day. It's like, oh god, that was hell. You wake up tomorrow and it's a fresh day, and it's a better day. That wasn't as bad a day. So we kind of evolve every day. Biggest challenges in the business today, just generally, what for you?
For me, we run a platform, so it's kind of making sure that is always on, never down, always up, always supported. Sales, you've got to continue to make sales numbers to grow business. I mean,
the pressure.
Right. If I keep talking, Mark, I'd talk everybody out of doing this. But there's also amazing highs when you win a new client, when you get the feedback from somebody saying, oh my God, what you've created has been amazing. We used to do this, and the last time we did it, we lost 60,000 because there was mistakes in our formulas. It's like, oh, wow.
That feels great, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it feels amazing. So it's like, you have to take the swings with the roundabouts, the good with the bad. I think it's an amazing thing to do, to build a business, to have opportunities for people, to see people grow, to advance people.
Interesting. Some people say, why do you do what you do? And I love business. I always say I like making money. That's not a shy thing to say. But I genuinely enjoy watching people rise up. Like in your team, right? Your company, it is an extended family. I don't want that to sound cheesy.
No, it is.
I
It really
love my team members. They're not my family. I can have a real close personal relationship with them. We also keep the full professional relationship. We've got to get shit done. Sometimes we have to talk awkwardly to each other, right? But you see them get engaged, have kids, and it's their life. And as the business,
buy houses,
and as the business grows, they grow. And like, if your business succeeds, they're going to succeed, and it can probably reap bigger rewards, business and entrepreneurship, for everyone in the chain than a conventional journey can be. And that's one of the things I do love. And I'm fortunate enough to be in this VC position. Fuel Ventures is a business. We're a fund. We're a business. We run a business. We're a team. But our businesses invest in other companies. So the network effect of that, someone else would do it if we didn't. So it's not magically, aren't we wonderful? But I just pause for sometimes a second thinking, wow, that's 170 companies, 300-ish founders. How many tens of thousands of people are behind that? And it's not me or the team or indirect, but you are having an impact, even if you never talk to the people and see the people there. But it takes founders and entrepreneurs to deliver that value, deliver that growth, and lead to that. And it is rewarding, but it's also, let's take it, we are going both ways here. On to good stuff, because we talked about challenges, success stories. Can you name any major successes, major wins in your journey, Kareem? I mean, you've sold your company. That was a good win.
I mean, that's kind of like, we all just clap on that one, don't we? Come on, that's pretty good. Being bought by a major American corporation. Yeah.
What was the deal like? Just on that point, doing the deal? They approached you. How long did that take?
They approached us. We actually, we actually already had somebody who was interested, and then I'd kind of, if they watch this, they're going to go like, she had a strategy. And I knew who was probably going to be the person that we partnered with stroke acquired us. And I probably knew that 2 years out. Okay. Maybe a little bit longer. Yeah.
How did you approach it? Were they a client? Were they connected to the business?
They were a partner. We used to come up against them, and we just started winning all of the time.
Did you build a relationship with them, or did you wait for them to come in and knock on the door?
No, we kind of built a relationship with them. So when I had the first offer, I then told them about that offer, and they were like, oh, that's interesting.
Okay, so that led them to step up. Do you think they were always on the sidelines interested, but they preempted?
I think they were watching.
Yeah, okay, waiting for someone else. That's fascinating. I do find that in business a lot. You probably know your acquirer. You should get close to them. You should build a relationship, do business with them, co-do deals together. Like, that seems to be the way.
I think it's also a really good fit for the acquisition path for a business, because it's like, then you've got a similar way of working, you understand the same clients, they can see where the value is going to come from. Let's be clear, when you're selling something and buying something, people always want to sell for the most and people want to buy for the least. But the real marriage comes, doesn't it, where there's still a lot of upside in the game for them, and they can see how they can really double something down. So it really needs to be something they know and kind of see. And the closer they are to you, the easier I think people will think that it is to integrate, because that's another challenge, isn't it, when you're buying a business?
All of the above. It's a synergy fit, and that's why I said, did they know you? Did they understand you? They were watching you in the industry, because they're buying that, not just the product and the clients, right? It's everything you're about, everything you build. Back to the culture, they kind of see what you've got a bit different going on. It's all of it, and that all adds to value. Whether they perceive it and write it in the term sheet or not, right? It's what they think and what they believe, right?
Yeah.
Right, lessons in failure, right? You talked about earlier, you said the word pivot. Nothing fails. I like this, right? Nothing really fails. You pivot and direct, you change, you evolve. So
it's whether you take the downside, because failure could lead you to continue to spiral down to failure. It's like, okay, that wasn't right. We need to identify that really quickly, and we need to move to something else. Right, what are we going to do to solve that? I love a 90-day action plan.
There you go. You've kind of taken that to say something's not working. How long do you give it? When do you yank the plug? Is kind of what you've just kind of outlined. And
exactly,
everything's a calculated risk, not really a test. Everything's a test. So instead of being pessimist on it, you could say, I tried it, didn't work. I'm on about like major. Have you ever launched a business and it totally didn't work? Like, you've told me your journey. Was there anything in between?
I mean, I've had a few instances where I've gone to start something and I've come up with an idea and then I've modeled it around and we've got a little bit of I've got a little bit on the way and gone, oh no, that's not really going to work. I think
everyone's kind of done that, and that's kind of you changing direction because you just see it's not the right area. I find it fascinating as a real second time entrepreneur, at least, right? I always find it fascinating. I probably said this to you when we first met and we talked about investing in your business. I find that amazing for what you did to decide on this business, because you've done it once. And when I started out, was I going to be the voucher code marketplace guy? Was I going to be the VC guy? No, like, it was a business where I ended up looking at the opportunity. It kind of came to me. I grabbed it by both horns and built it. What was it? Did I dream about building that business? No, I dreamed about building a business. And that just happened to be where I put my direction in. It's kind of same for you. Now you're doing this business. Why this business? Like, did you take way more things into consideration? Because you've done it before. You were like, okay, it needs to have a bigger market. It needs to have a bigger market.
And I wasn't ready to hang out my boots.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not ready. It was just the opportunity came along and somebody got their checkbook out, and then I could see actually there's the first offer you get is always the best offer. Somebody that kept coming up in my mind.
Is it really the best offer?
I don't know. Who knows?
Who's saying is that? I don't know. Normally, the best process is to have a competitive process. Like you said, there was another conversation ongoing, and that's really what leads to normally better offers. But maybe the first offer is the better offer. I don't know. Different. I don't know. I might disagree with that one, but who knows, right?
Well, for me, I wasn't the big reason is I wasn't ready to hang up my boots, and I saw that this was an opportunity that. Everybody was doing what we do with Scope Better. The whole pricing process is done manually. So for me, it's a problem. What are we solving with Scope Better? It's the pricing problem. Everybody does it manually. It's complex for services. It's disjointed. It's done with lots of different, solutions manually with scattered data and lots of blind spots. And actually, we're just going to build an application that solves it. Boom. So I was like, that's great. It's exactly what we need to do.
That's good.
Let's do it.
So it kind of came to you. How long did you take between selling business? I presume you had to do an earn out and stuff like this. When you were actually saying, okay, I'm not done yet, I'm not hanging up my boots. How long did it take from that moment till you actually come up with this idea and said, this is the one? Was that just a long time, a short time?
No, a short time. So this idea was actually protected under the last agreement.
Oh, so you already had the idea. That was your next rodeo, right? Interesting, fascinating. Okay, so
they took a long time over the due diligence, I have to say, and it was an American corporation, so they had, we were close to 90 people at the time, and they had probably about 85 people all over the deal room.
Wow,
it's coming into
it can be overwhelming, right?
Difficult thing to hide. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have a list of all your ideas somewhere? Because I do. I haven't got enough years in my life to do all my ideas, but on my phone, on my notes, I have an ideas page, and they are from wild and wacky to serious big businesses if I only had the time. Do you?
Yeah, I have a whole list of, and mine can be ideas that are like stuff that I might want to do for a long weekend. There might be other stuff that I could be like, wouldn't it be great if we just did a festival? We could get a group of friends and we can kind of so I have those up to grand business kind of ideas. Absolutely.
If I write it down, that's more than an idea. It's like, okay, that's the to-do. It's actually on the to-do list. Will I ever get to it? Will I ever get round to it? But sometimes, you browse through your notes and you're like, oh, I remember that one. So it's easy. I love parking. So I'm a list person. I don't know.
I know I am too.
How do you manage your day? Because I write, actually, I'm a bit old fashioned. I have digital notes, but I love physical. And I hear it on my desk now. Yeah, there's a lot of scrappy notes, but yeah, there you go. You got a notebook. Do you love turning that page? You love scrubbing out the task? Ding, ding, ding. That's psychological for me. It's wonderful. So I love a fresh page. It means 3/4 of the previous actions have been done.
I am exactly the same. And I still do the same thing. I'll I'll be in my notes, kind of like writing another note, and then I'll even print them out and then cross them off. I mean, and I've had all sorts of
therapeutic, a little bit therapeutic, but for me, it also helps me relax because I can have overload here. If I'm trying to remember all them little jobs, important, super important, it's written on my hand. There's the 2 big tasks for tonight, right? That means before I go to bed, it's like scrubbing that off my hand.
Have you got podcasts for Tracey on there?
We're already doing that, so that's. Luckily, that was in my calendar. But yes, that was very, very good. But yeah, another to-do list, right? But okay, very good. I like this. What's your advice for founders maybe starting a business in the current market?
That's a great question. You know what? A good idea is timeless. And there's always a reason not to do something.
What are you holding off for?
Yeah, so I'm all about action. I'm like, current market, well, that just means you're going to be more honed. You're going to have to be quicker. You're going to have to be thinking smarter. And it's just going to be better and more successful if you've not got any what I would consider to be kind of slop. So it's probably a great time to start.
Yeah,
no time like the present, Mark. Come on.
I say the same. There's a graph or a picture or a meme or something where it basically just shows a timeline and how much progress you're going to make if you actually start today. And I know a lot of people, let's say in my personal life, who procrastinate and kind of put things off, and they're like, I haven't got enough knowledge yet. I haven't got enough. I need to do more experience. I need to do a course. And I'm like, time's ticking. You said that months ago. You said that last time I caught up with you. And like, what about just doing it and doing it a bit scrappy and learning on the job? Because you know what? Progress. Amazing how quick you break progress. You're in one place, then very quickly, once you've started it, you kind of, the momentum happens. This podcast was a long time in the making, and a lot of people said it, and I put it off. And, you know, the year's not getting,
no,
it's moving on. So here we are.
I think people are going to love the feedback of the podcast. I think it's got some really valuable things to add.
It's only as good as the guest, but these things are really important for people. Like, even for me, it's fascinating to hear some of your answers, compare my notes. I'm going to take away what you said earlier about when you recruit new people and how you rate them. That's fascinating. I'm sure other people are going to at least look at that, right? Long-term goals, right? Where you and your businesses can be a double answer if you want. In the next 5-10 years, like, this might be scaring me with the ambition now, maybe, or maybe not.
Oh, well, I want to take this one to the moon. I mean, I'm trying to break into other sectors. So I want to own the pricing, to be the pricing platform globally for professional services businesses. And I want to get it done in the next 5 years. So watch this space.
Okay.
You were asking about next big things. I mean, I've already got ideas about what I want to do. I'm passionate about health and longevity. So that's a real interest area for me. So, but yeah, no, this is, it's been a burning problem in business, and I can't help. I've got to solve it. So
and there
we're on.
How many years is the business in now since you started it?
So we're probably about 6 full years in.
Yeah, okay. And are you still as passionate today as you were when you started on day one?
Probably more so, because we're winning clients. And
it's real now.
And then we've also, I know the tech that we've kind of developed, you know, and once again, it's like a pivot. We've had a few steps forward, a few steps sideways. COVID was a bitch for us.
Yeah, a lot of people.
You know, yeah. So that was kind of one of those things of like, oh.
Yeah. That took a toll on a lot of business. Some businesses benefited from it, but a lot of business had the lull. I'd say even the current market conditions, I mean, the economy in the world's not great, inflation, cost of living, all of these things are having a material impact on companies' spending power, companies' budgets. You know, I think we're coming out of that, but the last 24 months, everyone, SaaS businesses, everyone.
You know, if you can make it there and you can get through there, you can get through anywhere.
Think of what it's like in a good market. That's what I say. That's even
which is that question to the entrepreneurs: why start now? It's like, because if you can do it now, you're gonna shoot to the moon even faster.
Yeah, it'll just accelerate, and you've got to lay the foundation so you hit it hard when the markets are stronger, and everything cycles, right? Ebbs and flows. It's natural.
Yeah, and it's all learning. You know, it's like, do I want the learning now, or when it's already, or when the rocket ship is launching, and I'm like, I'm still learning, I can't get on. So
Very good. Right. Daily habits. Which routines or practices help you keep focused and motivated? Now, you're oozing with motivation. I feel the energy. I love that. I love that. It's really important for me. Anything you do that makes you...
I can't believe I'm going to tell you this. I have a trainer to my house 3 days a week.
Good.
So at 6 a.m., I've got somebody who keeps me accountable, and
Good.
I'm like, oh yeah, let's go.
That means you can't say no. Because would you, if you didn't have a trainer, would you sometimes slip that session?
I would definitely slip those.
Yeah, everyone would. I think everyone would.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm human, so I make sure that those happen, and then it's just, I find that if I'm a bit frustrated at something after I've had a session, there's no frustration left.
Wow. So what kind of training do you do? Is it?
So I do all sorts of things, but mostly at the moment I'm kind of hit weights, various different kind of,
You do better than me. I need to do more of that. Genuinely, I'm in front of my computer way too much. My calendar's way too busy. It's an excuse. I have kids as well, right? But I need to do more of it. I get out. I try and walk. I know it's not the best exercise in the world, but it's getting off my ass. Getting off my ass keeps off the pounds, because but it's just calories in, calories out in my view. I would love to be as energetic as what you're telling me. I struggle to find it happen, but getting out, doing more. I'm convinced I'm going to get on a Peloton or a walking machine while I'm on board meetings. I just think these things need to merge, because look, by the time we finish tonight, I'm going to make my kids dinner, finish off all my admin list on my hand, and then before you know it, it's like late in the night, right? But yeah,
do you know what? I'm very happy to have a next board meeting, Mark. I'll be on my spinning cycle. You're going to be
sweaty, horrible, Mark. It's going to be tragic. I'm like, the out of breathness was probably what would worry people the most, right? But I'm convinced I need to do this, because not all meetings. There's important meetings where you really need to be face to face, fully attentive. Some meetings I just need to be there, listening and chipping in a little bit. They're the ones where I should do this. I'm going to commit that to you now, because even though it's my commitment, well, now I've said it. I'm one of these people. Once I've said it, that's kind of a promise that I've put out there.
I'm going to look forward to checking in on that one.
I'm going to join your next session just on this, just to prove it, right? Okay. No, but genuinely, sometimes you've got these ideas in your head. I've got to do this. We put it off. We all put stuff off. That life's bloody busy, right? But when I say it, like even the podcast, I've said it. I said it a while back, and I had to do it. I can't let people down. It's important, and here we are. It's happening, so I'm very happy. Right, inspiration. Who inspires you to be an entrepreneur? Like you did say, your father earlier. Daily basis. Anything else? You met Richard Branson. You mentioned to me. What besides your own motivation? Anything else that gives you external inspiration?
I'm pretty passionate about talking about what I'm doing. So I love telling people about what we do and how we do it. And to be honest, Mark, I don't think I'm employable to do anything else.
You said that earlier.
To do what I do. It's, I'm not sure. In a big corporate organization, you've got to be told what to do, whereas this is great. It's like you're coming up with ideas, you're making things happen, you're moving needles. I'm not sure I'd be really good at the, no, you can't do that. Well, that marketing idea is too good not to make. And I think if you're, a small business and you're innovating, then you can do risky things that other businesses just wouldn't do.
Cheesy. You mightn't have this because it's on the fly. Do you have a motivational quote that you repeat or think about, or even think is good? Any in your mind? And if not, just pass it.
No, I do. It's a Winston Churchill one. It's like, it's never give up. It's that whole kind of like,
so simple, right?
It is absolutely so simple, because there's some days you're like, it's the same as if you're in the gym or you've got to rush towards, the number of times I've been like, oh my God, I think I'm going to miss that flight. It's okay, don't give up. We're still moving. I didn't miss the flight. I got on it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, we're not going to win that pitch. It's like, it's okay. Let's do this, this, and this. Great, we did that, and then we won the pitch. It's like, that whole never think that it's any time to give up. Keep pushing, because you never know.
Okay, simple one. I like this one. Very good. Right, books and resources. Which resources, books, podcasts, tools would you recommend entrepreneurs and business leaders? Anything you use, read, anything?
I'm a bit eclectic in what I'm watching. At the moment, I'm loving Dave Asprey, because he's doing a load of stuff on various things on biohacking, which I think is about healthy body, healthy mind, for me, certainly, like that's, the two are interconnected. I wouldn't, Stephen Bartlett, he's got us all, hasn't he? Hasn't he got us all?
Very good.
I can't help myself. I'm like, I'm not going to watch The Diary of a CEO. Then it's like, oh, that's really good. But it's like, it's Diary of a CEO, but they're completely random.
It's very diverse now into
it's very random snippets of
which is interesting, right? You learn about stuff.
Yeah.
You learn about stuff that you didn't know.
Didn't even know you needed to know. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I started as, going, oh, this is going to be good. What's he going to teach me? And then it's like, we taught me something that's nothing to do with business. Most of it.
Sometimes it's a nice distraction, right? Even if it's not business, that's input for you. It's knowledge, it's information. It keeps you ticking, makes you think. I think that's important on a daily basis, right?
I also like learning from other people. I mean, stuff that we've already had a chat about today. It's like what you've said, and I'll meet somebody else at a networking event and they'll tell me about something. It's like, oh, I'll go and take a look at that. And I'm always frantically getting notes. So, business ideas and notes will be, oh, I talked to that person on the topic. Oh, I'll look that up. And then all of a sudden you've got a plethora of knowledge.
There's not enough hours in the day for half the stuff. You've got to really double down and pick it. Founder quirks, right? So you've got to really look in the mirror on yourself now. Any quirky rituals, habits, qualities?
What are you talking about? I don't know.
You're funny as well. That's good. That's good. I don't know, as a person, are you super serious all the time? Will you take the pee of yourself sometimes? Like when you present yourself to your team and your business?
No, but people, I'm sure when I'm quite serious can probably be a little bit frightened.
But you have to be serious lots of time. Business, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you avoid the quirk.
I can't believe I'm about to tell you this.
Do it. That's what I want.
The team have an alter ego for me when I'm going to be like, they call the other Tracey, not the always happy and jovial Tracey. They call her Tina.
Okay. So we don't want to.
Tina's come to a meeting. Everybody's like, all of a sudden, everybody's busy with their coffee cups or their books or their notes. Or I don't know whether Mark has a Marvin. I don't know whether we can.
Yeah, I think we can all get out of bed the wrong side. Whether it's me.
Oh no, it's not about the wrong side.
No?
It's like no. There was something that this wasn't done how we need it to be done. So Tina's coming in to tell everybody this is this is not how we show up.
Yeah. That too. I think you're coming in for it. You have to have the words and it has to be serious and you got to put the pressure. And it's never normally focused at one person. It's, we are better than this, and that happened, and we're not going to mess up, so we're not going to let it happen again. I agree on that. So quirks, any rituals, like you've already mentioned your health habits. I think that's 6 a.m. is very good, 3 times a week, I think you said. Anything else you do? You've talked about, I'm saving a question towards the end for this biohacking. I'm fascinated on this.
Oil in my coffee, and I drink bone.
What kind of oil? What's in the coffee? Let's go there.
Well, it's called it's NCT oil, so it's kind of like really good for they call it brain octane.
Okay, so this is tied into the biohacking, right? Okay, nice. Okay, so these are the quirks, these are little things that we should know about you. It's very good. Right, unfiltered moments. I think we're nearly getting towards the conclusion of our great.
I'm good because it's getting embarrassing, Mark.
No, do you know what? The whole point of this podcast is meant to be, let's not make it rich. I don't want your PR manager nudging you and stopping it. Like, we haven't gone anywhere bad, but we are seeing you and your personality and the humanness and, your life, your kids, your business, your mindset, what you do. It's super important because we can all come on and do a rigid professional, how it should be. And it's all about the business. Every business has people behind it. And I think that's what people want to see, right? So that's important to me, right? Unfiltered moments. Is there a moment where you completely doubted yourself? Like, do you remember what that was? How did you overcome it? Like, does it happen all the time? Like, who knows, right? I told you, unqualified most days, still am. But
well, there probably is. I just, I've been doing it for so long, it just becomes natural, doesn't it? Unfiltered moments. I mean, I'm from New Zealand. You'll hear some of my New Zealandisms a lot.
And what? Like, I don't know what New Zealanders are.
There'll just be little instances of, I don't know. I don't even know I do them, but the team will know that when I do it.
Does that cause a giggle and a laugh, or what?
Well, it's just I'll do something that's very down to earth and very
okay.
Kiwi, I guess.
You're human, right? I think that's important. You can't, so that's nice, right? Core value. Do you have a core value? What's your biggest? You probably have lots, right? But is the one that jumps to your mind to say, I wake up in the morning and this is who I am, what I am, this is what I'm about?
What is my core value? I guess, I'm all about action. What is it? It's like, have a plan and make some action.
Make it happen, kind of, right?
Yeah, I am all about action.
And never give up, as we said earlier. Very good.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. Right, I think I'm going to go on that health biohacking piece because I find it fascinating. You mentioned it just before we spoke today. Give us a bit of insight. How long have you been interested in that area? What actions have you taken in your own life that you think have had an impact and maybe others should look into? Because you're right, we're all on this planet for a certain amount of time. You work hard, you choose to be an entrepreneur, you choose to commit your life, big chunk of your life, your time and effort into what you do. All the impacts and the positivity we've had. Some negativity can have strain on your body, strain on your mind, stress. Sure, there's a few extra lines and wrinkles and grey hairs that you wouldn't have had if you would have had an easier life, right? so I'm all for the balance. And then people say work-life balance. You're giving me a big chunk of biohacking, the science behind this, there's theories. Educate me a little bit.
So I probably started about 5 years ago, and I went pure keto for a long time. I think keto is a really, really good way to kind of like live. Mm-hmm. So the octane oil that I have with my coffee is all around kind of being very, very focused towards kind of the ketogenic diet. Uh-huh. Food is a huge part. So I don't like to eat much sugar. Mm-hmm. I would prefer to drink tequila than I would drink, a beer. I know, don't tell anybody.
I like this biohacking crazy.
I think it's kind of better for you. And then I'll do all sorts of different supplements. I have my blood taken every 3 months. So I have my blood analyzed as to what supplements I should be taking, what I'm light on, what I'm not. I have IV drips.
Yeah, popular.
Top up the things that I don't
personalized, customized to your body. It's super important. You're a CEO, super important to the business, right? And your health, your mindset. You mentioned the drips earlier. You notice a material difference. You told me you take oral vitamins and minerals to boost your body. You eat healthy by the sounds of it anyway, but you notice a material difference. You're a fan of this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay,
very good. And any last thing that's something you've read on biohacking, something you're not using yet, but you.
So I think, I think the most, if you were to choose one thing that makes a difference, I think, vitamin D. Everybody should take it every day, and then magnesium to sleep. So one of the challenges that people have is certainly as entrepreneurs, people who are busy, is that we all naturally run low in magnesium. It just happens, and the same with vitamin D. And vitamin D can make the most difference to somebody's health. Everybody should be taking it all the time. And the same as magnesium for sleep. Sleep's super important, getting loads of sleep.
Funny enough, there's a lot of conversation about mental health, mindset, and all of this. And it is important, super important, right? Different people deal with things differently. So mental health isn't a problem for some people, a lot of people. And it's a big problem for a lot of people. But I like we're talking about physical health. Because surely it all comes from the same area, right? So It's very nice. I didn't expect to have that part of the conversation, but fascinating. It is important we take care of ourselves, right? Do you know what? Thank you for taking the time. I think your journey is fascinating. I look forward to continuing the journey. I think you're just getting started on something very big. Anyone can go and scope better your business and dig a little bit deeper. They can find you online in various places, reach out to you, I'm sure. But thank you very much for today's session, and thank you for being honest. I threw some questions that we didn't even plan, and you dig in, and I think I could tell you answered honestly. So thank you very much.
Brilliant, Mark. I've loved it as well. Nice to have some quality time with you too.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.